Hey everyone, welcome. Welcome to day one of Money Isn't a Dirty Word. This is 3 days of money medicine in the form of a masterclass. I'm Samantha Calanita, and my partner is Samira Williams, and we are here to support you in healing your money wounds over these 3 days together. I say let's get started. Let's talk a little
Let's
bit,
do it.
right? Let's talk a little bit about signs that you've got money wounds to heal. So, Myra, do you want to kick us off? What are some of those signals someone might be seeing in their life that would cue them that they've got some money wounds to heal?
Of course, the reality is that usually, by usually, I mean almost always, the signs that we are having blocks around this, and we don't even love the word blocks, but there's like an incongruency. There's something that's not working.
Yeah.
It feels like the elephant in the room that we are scared to talk about, that we're afraid to talk about, that we just avoid talking about. I think that sometimes like in my 20s, I felt like I pretended to like have it together, but like wouldn't go into detail about it. And that almost felt like I was trying to convince myself that I had it together when I
Yeah.
knew I didn't, right? And it was a survival pattern, but still, it can feel like the elephant in the room in your life, that you're just avoiding. And it almost can feel like a little secret. Like you have to get your courage up to check your bank account, like you have to like psych yourself out to like check it and to not feel like you're going to have a panic attack if it's low or overdrawn or something came out you didn't expect or just not feeling steady and consistent about it or even neutral when we go into this kind of like fear around giving feedback around it, negotiating, right? Being afraid to even it may sound simple, but like returning a meal because it's not right, or
Oh,
like someone offering to waive it because it's not right and you don't want to accept it. If you struggle to even like receive a discount or the refund, or you won't even do the refund because you don't want to go through the hassle, which is fine. But these are little secrets to give hints that our relationship with money might need some attention.
absolutely. So if their money feels like the elephant in the room, or honestly like the elephant sitting on your chest, that your breathing gets constricted, you feel nervous, you say, think about it at night when you're going to sleep. Indicators we've got some money wounds, especially for us business owners, especially heart-centered business owners. If you feel yourself like you're uncomfortable with your pricing, you're always giving discounts, always adding extra bonuses because you're afraid to sell at that price point. You don't think it's worth it, right? Or if you're afraid to sell at all, you're afraid to come off spammy. You know you're chronically undercharging, but you're too afraid to change it.
Or
These
you're
are
changing the price like popcorn, like it's
yes.
all over the place.
Or just like picking one out of the sky willy-nilly. These are all signals that there's some money wounding here. And it goes deeper than you might think. And we're going to address that in a really trauma-informed way over these next 3 days of master classes. Today, we're hitting the foundations. So if you're, whether you're watching this kind of live with us or you're watching the replays, you're in our chat group, why don't you go ahead and share with us if you feel comfortable? Of course, if you feel comfortable. What do you think? What resonated with you? What was the signal for you in our discussion that you've got a wound to work on? Is it the afraid to look at your bank account, changing your prices, knowing you're undercharging? Like, let us know what's coming up for you because I know I've experienced all of those things at some point. There is no shame in acknowledging it, but shame is something we're going to work through around money because they can be quite linked. That being said, note your money wounding, note the areas where it's coming up in the present. And now we're going to kind of talk about your current relationship with money, right? What money means to you, what it represents in your life, the role it's playing in your life. So, Myra, do you want to talk about this part, current relationship, and then I'll work with them on the reframe?
Of course, when we think about what money means to you, I often have my clients as well as myself, because it can change over time. When you think of the word money, what does it bring up for you? Jot
Mm,
this down, journal it out. I encourage you to block out some time after um, our live today or schedule it into your calendar, time to really work through these questions. I promise you, you will have breakthroughs, like really massive breakthroughs, if you answer these questions. What
Yes.
does money mean to you, right? So money equals, what does it represent? Does it represent freedom? Does it represent hardship? Does it
Mm,
represent struggle? Does it represent, and sometimes just ask yourself, like, what does money represent for me? For a long time, money represented pain for me. And it wasn't until I was a good 5+ years into my business before I really understood that my money blocks and my business money blocks weren't really strategy. It was that this belief was that money equal pain. So getting clear on what money equals for us helps us to sort through a lot of that web. And so, what did it mean to you as a child, right? For some of us that grow up in complex situations, there can be money wounding that we aren't even aware of, how emotional and how complex it can be. And
mm,
so, for some of us, myself included, who both parents were not in the home, because my dad did not pay child support and I saw my mom struggle so much financially, I
mm,
felt like money equaled complicated,
yeah.
like I wasn't worth showing up for. Like it had to equal like struggle and pain. And like I wish it wasn't even a thing because then mom wouldn't be so stressed. There are all these stories that we can make up as little kids because we need to put a story to something to help us to um, process it, even though we're not truly processing it. We're making up stories about it. But we don't know that until we grow up and we
Right.
can come back and like nurture our inner child. But it's important to know how you felt about money and what it meant for you as a child because I guarantee you, and I'm not a betting woman, but I would bet you it has something to do with wherever you're stuck or afraid to go bigger in your current dynamic, personally or professionally. I would also just add if you are a business owner, if you're a coach, a healer, a wellness professional, even if you are a corporate girly, right? And we love our corporate girlies, think about it from that business perspective. What does your salary mean to you?
Mm,
What's the income goal that you have, even currently? What's it mean to you?
yeah.
And what's your ideal salary or even your next level salary? Say you want to make 10 grand more or 5 grand more, $1,000 more this year, this quarter. What meaning are you putting on that?
Yeah.
What's the dollar amount? What's the meaning you're assigning to it? And then what my partner loves to say, because it's just the gospel truth, when we have the courage to tell ourselves the truth, then we're able to face it with compassion, with love, and with our adult self to
Yeah.
help us move through it.
Absolutely. Thank you for anchoring that in. And I think as an integrative trauma therapist, Samira brings like a really deep rooted healing perspective to money. So we went deep fast, you guys. Okay. We went deep fast because that's how you make change. And just answering one of those questions can be really powerful. It might give you the insight you need to make a shift. So give yourself the space to answer those questions and prompts. Money equals what? What meaning did I assign to it? What did money mean to me as a child? Those could give you the wisdom and insight you need to move through some of the things you're experiencing in the present.
For
Right.
sure.
Honoring the story, honoring where you've come from. It's also important to take that power back, to take the story back and reframe it into a more empowering one. Because we've all, if you're here and the money isn't a dirty word experience, then you have felt at some point like it was, right? Like money was a dirty word. It was difficult or challenging or scary or immoral. I know that was one for me. And it's time to be able to take back that story because we were really innocent children when we receive those stories. But maybe it's the stubborn person in me. Like I'm a Taurus, I'm kind of a stubborn gal. Like, and I love it. But I will, and I love my 6-year-old self, but I will not allow my 36-year-old self to be run by the stories of a 6-year-old. It's time for the healed adult to take the reins here. Smart, does that feel okay?
Yes, it feels spot
Okay.
on.
I want to honor that little girl, but also let the healed adult be in charge. So let's talk about reframing your story or your money limiting beliefs. I want you to go ahead, if you feel comfortable, grab a piece of paper with you and try to identify a situation, name it, in which you felt like money was a dirty word? Can you identify that situation and then identify, second, the story you told yourself about it? And we'll walk through an example, but I'm just going to give you the steps quickly. So identify the situation and then identify the story you told yourself about it. Step three here is the most important part, okay? It's where we poke holes in the story. It's questioning the logic of the 6-year-old, in my case, who made up that story. The more holes you poke in that logic, the more questions you ask about that story, the less power the story starts to have. Because it feels like the truth when it's a secret little truth in our heads. It's a secret story. But when you speak it out loud or write it down, you can start to poke those holes. Next step, you can start to ask yourself, what meaning are you giving that money currently? This is kind of an optional one, but still a powerful one if you have something to break down here. And number five, most importantly, can you create a more empowering story? What's the new story we're going to tell? So this is not a revolutionary process, but it is a powerful process. Okay. I'll walk you through a quick little example in my world. There are definitely situations in which I felt like money was a dirty word. I came up working in the corporate world and actually in the nonprofit sector. So I was totally conditioned nonprofit. Don't literally do not make a profit. We are not meant to turn a profit. And I did have this experience that like it was more moral to do that. It was moral. It was good to not make a profit. Like maybe I wasn't making the most money, but I kind of had this moral high ground because of the industry I was in. You can see ego all over this. Okay. I was in my early 20s, had a little work to do. But I really felt like that. I felt like it was immoral to make a lot of money. And so as I transitioned to become a business owner and a coach, I was like, oh, well, now I had to change my whole worldview. Now I literally had to make a profit. That's the name of the game of running a business. And I had a big internal struggle because the story I was telling myself was it's not good or kind or moral to make that much money. It's not comfortable or good. And if I'm a good person, I can't make that much money. And you could see how that would result in a conflict in running a business. So that's the story I was telling myself. It's not good or moral to make money. Can we poke holes in that? You, while you're watching this, can you come up with one or two reasons why you could poke holes in my story? Okay. Here's some reasons I could poke holes in it. When I have money, I do great things with it. Money buys gifts for my nieces and nephews, and that's a great thing. My money donates to charities for animals that I love. How can my money be immoral if it helps other people? I know I've spent money on therapists, healers, acupuncturists who have helped me release anxiety and trauma and heal. I paid with money. How can money be immoral or not good if that's the results that money can give me, or that's the things I can do with money? I had to poke holes in that story because the truth is, it doesn't hold up to logic. That story that money is immoral, I can poke a lot of holes in it. And if I can poke a lot of holes in it, then I can tell a new story that serves me much better. So let's jump to that final step. Can I create a more empowering story? If you're watching, share it in the comments. What do you think that new story could be from money is immoral to maybe money can be used to do good in this world? Money amplifies the good in this world. Money in the hands of heart-centered people creates heart-centered results. If you have the emotional space right now and the time, I would love for you to walk through these questions for yourself. We will put them in the Telegram chat. That's where we're running this challenge live, but you could also just rewind, jot down these prompts, and reframe your own money stories. Poke your own holes, and I promise you it'll be powerful. Samira, I know I've been talking a little bit, so I'm just going to pause myself, ask if you have any reflections, and then lead us into our final section for today.
Yes, absolutely perfect and all great. What I would add to that is if you have a neurospicy background, if you have a lot of trauma around money, or maybe deeper trauma than you realize, if you find it hard to jump from this is my current belief of money is immoral or money is bad to money can support me, it can be used for positive things. Can you make a step from money is bad or I hate money or money is immoral to a more neutral place? Could
Yeah,
it go from money is immoral to money can be used? I'm open to believe money could be used for good things.
yeah.
Or money is immoral. That's how I feel about it right now. That feels like a truth. But I'm willing to believe it could be just neutral. Sometimes we can't get from quote unquote negative or
Yeah.
unhelpful belief to helpful, more positive belief. If we can get to that middle neutral ground, you can move forward in a powerful way.
I think that was really helpful to say because this is obviously a belief I've worked through. But if you need like a bridge affirmation, we sometimes call it the I'm willing to believe money can be good. I am open to seeing the good in money. Find the words that feel true to you. And of course, you can always come hang out with us in our membership, in our mastermind community, the Empowered Leadership Collective, and we can help you work through it more personally. So thank you so much for bringing that forward, Samira. And I
Of
think
course.
let's close today talking about how you want to feel about money. We've kind of done past and present. Let's talk future.
Yeah, sometimes we only talk about future, and past and present is really what sets you up for future. Getting really clear on how you want to feel about money. And I always love to share, like, if there were no limit on
Mm,
how you could feel about it. If you could feel like it was the most amazing thing, that it supported you in all ways, if there were just no limits, how would you feel about money? Describe your ideal relationship with money. If the sky weren't even the limit, like if there were no limits, how would you feel? What would that relationship with money be like? I would encourage you to really feel into it, almost like you're writing down your love list for your ideal partner. Like, what is your ideal love list for you and money? And really anchor in that vision, how you want this to feel, this relationship with money. How can it start to feel safe for you based on the vision that you've set? So if you want to feel safe and held and deeply supported by money, how can you start anchoring that in?
mm,
Maybe it's putting a note in your wallet
yeah.
or on your laptop or someplace that you see all the time, like a bathroom mirror around, like I am, and find a quote or a mantra that really resonates for you. I'm good with money. I love money. Money loves me. Find something fun or playful that can anchor it in, and it can be whatever it is for you, but that can help you bring the physical into the mental into the physical into form. And how can I feel like it's possible for me to actually move
Yeah.
in the direction of this ideal relationship? Like it's not just some far off like pipe dream. Like how can I feel like it's possible? It can simply be, it can feel more possible by making a cute, quick little vision board, even on your phone. Snap some pictures, put them in Canva, put it at the screensaver. When it feels tangible, when we can see it visually, when we can speak it through an affirmation that feels believable and doable. It doesn't have to be, I'm a millionaire by Monday, right? It can simply be, I am learning to learn about money. I'm learning to be good with money, right? I'm learning to even feel neutral around money.
Mhm.
These steps up the ladder can help you really anchor it in faster than you believe.
Yeah.
When we begin to um, normalize it, normalize our relationship with money being healthier. And when we put it in repetition, when we repeat the things, when we put the thing on the bathroom mirror, when we do the screensaver, we
Mhm.
are repatterning our subconscious mind to believe it. The subconscious mind will not believe things that do not feel normalized. That's why we need repetition. And so when we begin to talk about in the mastermind and also in this masterclass experience, we everyone talks about building nervous system capacity, and no one ever tells you how. We build nervous system capacity by helping our nervous system to feel safe about whatever the changes that we're making, whether it's in enforcing and like establishing boundaries, whether
Mhm.
it's shifting our relationship with money, how we feel about it, what we think of when we even think about money. That's all building your capacity for money being safe, for
Yes.
it being normalized, and for it being like acceptable. It's
Mhm.
almost like putting your ATM card in the bank machine. If it's an old card or if it's the wrong way, the machine won't accept it. And so we put reprogramming into our subconscious mind by getting it into a format, into a language, if you will, that it can easily accept. Once it can accept it, your physical reality has to shift. It has to
Mhm.
shift. It's not wishful thinking like it's spiritual law. It has to shift. And it's also neuroscience. When we create safety, when we create like a ritual or a pattern and we make it fun, it becomes like a game. It becomes more of like this fun thing or this neutral thing that's not good or bad versus this heavy thing that feels like no fun. Who would want to do that? When we are open to accepting that we have to choose our heart. It can feel uncomfortable, and sometimes like not like the cool, sexy thing to do. But when we accept, if I want this kind of life, if I want to do good things in the world, if I want to have an abundant, lavish life, because you can, it's not wrong or unspiritual to want that. If
Yeah,
and we are in a world where we need money to live and to live well. And at this point, we need money in the hands of good-hearted people to help with some real world situations. We accept that not having money is hard. Having a business that does not work is hard. And doing what it takes to have a business that works, that is financially profitable, is can also be hard to do the things required to make it happen. But we have to choose our heart.
absolutely. That was so beautiful. And I really appreciate you going into the conversation about anchoring in because, yes, we want you to come up with your gorgeous money vision that, oh my gosh, can I even have this? This amazing money vision. And then the work is to anchor it in, anchoring it into your mind through repetition, through your conscious and subconscious, and anchoring it in through ritual, through action and belief, creating that safety that you can actually receive and hold that gorgeous money vision. So that is your big work. That's a lot of big work we've talked about in day one. We talked about your past experience with money and where you can identify your own money wounds that need to be healed. We talked about reframing your beliefs around money, where you felt like money was a dirty word, and how you can create more empowering thoughts, stories, and beliefs around money, and then exploring your money vision for the future and how you can anchor that in a trauma-informed, safe way. That's a lot for day one. So your homework is very simple. It is to simply share your one biggest takeaway from day one. Remember what Smyra said earlier. If you just do one question, if that's all you have capability or capacity for today, just do one question, write it down and get your answer. You will have shifts. You will experience the wisdom and the transformation that can heal your money wounds. So do as much as you can, do as little as you can, just do something, and you will see some shifts. And we will be so excited to hear your big takeaways for day one. That's your homework. And to see you tomorrow for price, worth, and value. Big, cool topic. Anything you want to say, Samara? Let's close her out.
Thank you for being here. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we mean it when we say if you answer one question, you're going to have an aha, you're going to make a shift, whether you physically feel it in that moment or not. Trust me, the work is going to work for you.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.